Wednesday morning continues here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, RKW 104.5 The Zone. Whole crew here live from Titans training camp. We're going to pull the first audible of training camp practices because the general manager has stopped by. Ran Carthon joins us this morning here at the table. Ran, happy training camp. How are you?
Happy training camp. Thank you for having me. Sorry, Rhett. Didn't mean to intrude on your...
He's a team player over here.
Oh, he's great. He's great. Wouldn't have it any other way.
We have to start with the fine system. Ramon Foster with traffic this morning. Between 5 and 6 minutes late. Can you walk me through the fine process on day one of training camp?
So we always tell guys, you know where you live, you know what the traffic is like, so you need to plan accordingly. So I suggest $100 per minute.
Okay.
We're going to fine him up to the max because if you fine him just a flat rate of $20, he's not going to learn his lesson. He'll think about it, the next time he's close to being late and say, well, it's just $20. Mm-hmm. But if you got to depart with $500 to $600, you're gonna think twice about being late.
We're splitting that.
That's a lot cheaper too. By the way,
but see, you can't split it. It goes into the company pie.
Okay.
And so at the end of of the year, so to speak, then that's what we're going to use to take everybody out.
Oh, that works too, as long as it's our show, because we kind of get sideswiped a little bit, so we'll take all that for us.
That's better than his us making him run and your hamstrings being in a lot of little pieces.
Tight and everything.
The surgery to put that together costs a lot more.
And that benefits me more too, because I'm gonna probably go at my pace. I just got to get done. But the issue is $100 a minute.
I mean, you got to hit you where it hurts.
Come on, Ryan.
You're not going to learn.
But it was an accident. Like, I left early enough to make it here. You don't want to hear any of those excuses.
So I'll say this. When did you communicate that you were going to be late?
Immediately.
I have the timestamp.
Immediately.
So the timestamp matters, because if you have to be in the meeting at 8:15 and you call coach at 8:10 saying there's traffic, then
5:41.
And what was the report time?
The 6.
Well, we need to be here.
I'd say 5.
Because you were already pushing it at 5:41. Because you thought you could get there, and you could text from traffic like, I might not make it.
And I sent the picture too.
He did send the picture.
That's a vet move. That's a vet move.
I will say this though. So everybody's been bragging about your quarterback and how he was the only car in the parking garage. Right. I still beat him in this morning. Okay,
That's fair.
Yeah. I got to take my dubs any way I can. All right, I'm gonna try to get a win no matter what. With that being said, let me get the first one real quick on this one. Ran, I think you've been on the other side, the general manager side, front office side, long enough that you enjoy this. But does the player side of you, for the people that don't understand, you are a player. Mm-hmm. Do you miss this? Like, do you still have a day or two? It's like, I might be able to put on a pattern.
Not at all.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
I had a moment, my very first year in scouting, 2008. I remember leaving the building. And in Atlanta, we had dorms in the back of the facility, so we did everything there. You stayed there. So I'm walking across the grass, and I could smell the wet grass and the nostalgia. And I'm like, man, like I still get this feeling, and I'm here and I'm around it, but my body feels great. Like I'm not sore. I'm not, worrying about what tomorrow's going to bring. I was joking with some of the guys in the office, and this is, my moment to be an old head and say when I played, but we talk about if you've never walked, because they don't know what it's like to walk from the dorms to the, but if you've never walked to the practice field praying, asking God or, whatever religious sect you believe in to help get you through this day, then you've never been to training camp.
Yeah, I've been there. And then I spoke about earlier, you mentioned the walk. I gave the story Daryl Drake, former NFL wide receiver coach. He was
God bless.
Yeah, God bless. Right, his family's here in Hendersonville, by the way. I was just telling about the routines of training camp that go into just mentally, like you said. Each day is almost the same, but some of them days you calling. Okay, you calling on God to be like, hey, I need a favor today. It's
either that or you start like, is this what I really want to do?
Yeah.
Like, what else is there to do out there?
Yeah, in that moment, it's no. But overall, I enjoy. I told him, I was like, when we started talking about that stuff, I was like, all right, I somewhat missed just that. Like, I missed Friday through Sunday. Yeah. Monday through Thursday, man, miss me with that.
Well, the cool thing about camp is, like, the relationships that the team build, especially when you go away. Because most times you're on a small college campus and it's just you and the guys. Yeah. And so the only time you'll have to kick it is with each other at a student union when nobody's on campus. And so you build those relationships, you build that camaraderie, and, those relationships are really built during camp. That's where you find the guys that you're going to hang out with during the fall and during the season. And so, you think about that, and a lot of your war stories generally come from training camp because those are your guys, those are your teammates, and you finally get a chance to crack heads with your boys, and give yourself, bragging rights, if you will.
Titans GM Ran Carthon joining us here live from Titans training camp. Day one, what are you watching for on the practice field? How does a general manager take in the first practice of camp?
Well, honestly, I just want to see, how crisp guys are, the attention to detail. And more than anything, it's different. Again, another old head moment from when Ramon and I played. There's a ramp-up acclimation period, right? And so, we're cognizant of all that, and just in terms of the length of practice, what we're going to ask guys to do, how much yardage they're going to run, and the impact on their body. So it's a ramp-up period. So today I just want to see guys be crisp, be on point with their assignments, and just see how guys fly around. It's particularly the young guys. They've been in the system now, a couple weeks, and see how they adjust to coming back. You've had, you come in, you have a long period, 4 or 5 weeks, whatever it was, and then now you've been off 4 or 5 weeks. Let's see how you are with your assignments when you come back, if you can fly around and play, with that thought of not thinking, what I'm saying, if that makes sense of, what the defense expects, what the offense expects, your assignment, and now you can just turn it loose and fly around.
Brian Callahan talked yesterday about competition on the right side of the offensive line, and that really stepping up when pads come on. How do you evaluate big guys like that competing with each other, and that process starting today in this ramp-up period?
Yeah, and the big thing is when those pads come on, especially with the offensive line, that's the one way to judge it, especially during OTAs and the restrictions you have, the lack of physicality that you're allowed to have in the, during the off season. But now the pads come on, and so now that's when it really matters. And, we got guys, on our defensive line, our defensive front that have something to prove. I know Jeff is looking to eat somebody's face, and prove who
Caleb
he
Williams
is.
in particular.
And so, he's got to knock off some of his rust. And so it's going to be some good battles in there. And I want to see, that. And I, obviously with big coach, running that unit, it's a certain expectation, now. And so looking forward to seeing those battles.
You kind of joked yesterday about how Will Levis didn't invite you to Cabo. I was thinking about, too. I was like, I got to book a trip to Cabo soon, man. That looks
that was
nice,
bogus.
right?
That was bogus.
I mean, you should have booked a flight and just been spying the whole time.
But the crazy part was I didn't even know. Obviously, I'm not on social media, and so
there's an account with your name on it.
Let's not go
not
there.
Let's make this clear.
The chef hat that our producer may have given you.
Listen, we will address that if they start monetizing. Then we might have to,
exactly. If there's money coming your way.
We might have to jump on that, take that, and get that blue check if that's even still a thing.
Right.
But my daughter, she shows me. She's like, Dad, all the guys are over in Cabo.
Yeah.
And they're working. She was like, Will didn't invite us. I was like, hold on, us. I was like, you have no part in this. And so now I look and I'm like, that's actually, really cool that he did that. Everybody does their different. It was funny because the week Will and our guys were in Cabo practicing and getting their work in, Josh Allen had his guys here in Nashville.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so it's like a bunch of those, passing camps, if you will, going on. But I thought it was really cool, especially for Will as a young guy, being able to put that together and, to have, vets like D-Hop and Ridley and those guys want to be there to participate, says a lot about Will's, his growth, his maturation, and just his leadership and where the guys see him.
Is that exciting at all as a GM of this team to have a quarterback that you're going to see the process play out with him? Because last year he was drafted here in the second round, but he wasn't starting. Ryan Tannehill was that guy, but now he's expected to start. How exciting from a GM perspective is that? It's nerve-wracking and probably challenging a bit, but is it exciting to see this process and how it will play out?
No, it's 100% excited. It's not really nerve-wracking because, we took him, we traded up. Like, that's what everybody forgets. We traded up. So the third-round pick we didn't have this year was based off of the trade up to get him last year. So there was belief in him from the start, and like we talked about, and I know it's much to do about who's going to start. Is it Ryan? Is it like we had a proven veteran starting quarterback in Ryan Tannehill, so there was no need to rush him along last year. But I think you saw when he came in, you think about it, he had the game in Atlanta, which was lights out, and then to a short week, go on the road to a crazy environment in Pittsburgh, and we're nearly there to win that game, and just the way he played, I think he went through just about every situation that there was for a young quarterback to see. You come in hot, you win a game, you go short week, how do you prepare on a short week,
right.
To find that routine. Then you go to a hostile environment as your first road start, and then you give us a chance to win there. You don't win there, then you have to deal with some other adversity. Then you deal with an injury, being able to come back from that. And so he's dealt with all those things. So hopefully he's, put all that a part of his bag, and now he knows how to handle these situations as they come up moving forward.
I needed to ask you about the running back position because clearly you know a little bit about that. But it is such a unique situation this year. Derrick Henry moving on from that and did great things for this organization. But how do you kind of describe the creativeness that can be done with this backfield? And again, there's going to be other guys that are going to help as well, but in Tajay Spears and obviously Tony Pollard specifically.
Yeah, shouts out to Derrick. I think, and I've always said this, that there were certain things that you thought about when you thought about the Tennessee Titans, and there was Mike Vrabel and it was Derrick Henry. Like, those were the identifiers of what it was to be a Titan and what that meant. And I truly mean that, and I still feel that. Yeah. But there's a new era coming that's being ushered in. And I think with Tajay and Tony, I think those guys being a 1A, 1B allows you to kind of still run your offense. You know what I mean? It doesn't tip you any tendencies. It doesn't, the defensive coordinator has to still look at the whole sheet and not just a certain corner, with both of those guys in, because both of those guys they can run the ball. They're explosive. They can hit the home run. Both of those guys can win one-on-one, in the passing game. Both of the guys can protect, and it's just one of those situations. And I don't want it to sound like coach speak or, like we're loving them up, but it doesn't matter who goes out there first. You know what I mean? Because it could be a situation that, based off of the first play of the game scripted, it might be Tajay, it might be Tony, it might be both. You know what I mean? And so it's just one of those, legitimate situations where you got two guys that are very similar in their styles, and it just makes you better and more explosive.
What's unique about that, though, Rand, is as much as I'm an air quotation marks this thing, devalue the running back position, right? Teams that understand that value still put an importance on having those types of guys. Like Derrick's out, but you guys drifted Tajay. And then, all right, he needs another co-partner, right? So you get a veteran in Tony Pollard. How huge was that, man, for y'all to be able to get that for him?
No, I think it was huge. I think that was always the plan when we started, developing it and just thinking about how we want to be moving forward. I understand. It's kind of like the housing market, right? It's kind of like the ebbs and flows, and Nashville's market is crazy, but you may go 40 minutes away and the market is a normal market, you know what I mean? So that's just how these player markets are now. You look at the offensive line market, you look at what tackles are getting paid. Christian Darrisaw just got paid yesterday. You would have loved to be a guard in this era to have the opportunity to make what
you bring that up a lot.
I was on the back end of they're watching us, y'all. They're watching us, and oh my God, I should have been born in 1990.
Yep.
You won the wrong race.
I was so proud of an 86er. I was like, the 86er. I wanted an 86 money call on. Never mind. Go ahead, Ray.
But no, it's so you understand the markets, and we just have to make sure that regardless of the markets. Regardless of the markets, we have to just make sure that we're in position if we're going to acquire players that way, and not only acquire players, we got to be able to pay our own. And hopefully that we're drafting and bringing in the right ones, because we want to draft and develop our own. and have those situations. Like, I would love for us to have 49er problems.
Right.
And how are you going to pay, your receivers? That's my goal. I want to have those problems because that means we got the right people. But it's one of those deals where it's the market, and I always call it like the cost of doing business. So.
Oh, look at that. Ramoni also forgot his stuff last year.
Hey,
yeah.
come
he
on.
also can't keep track of his clothing.
I've never heard of a high-maintenance offensive lineman. I've never.
Come to work with us every day.
He's a guard who acts like a tackle. Is what's going on.
Rain jacket back.
I love it. Yeah, that's good, though, Ramon. You're going to need that.
Ran Carthon with us here at the table live at training camp. You guys had Jamal Adams. You talked about him a little bit yesterday, the medicals checking out for you guys in that process. Where does he help this defense the most?
I mean, he's a versatile guy, and I know there are some thoughts that he can't do this and he can't do that. But the last time I checked, this guy was a DB that had 9 sacks. Like, that's not easy. And I don't care how many times you blitz him, you still got to get home, and you still got to beat people that are 50 to 60 pounds bigger than you. And he's proven that he's done it and that he can do it. So it gives us versatility. And even in signing Jamal, and I don't think this guy on our team gets enough love, is Amani Hooker.
Yeah.
And his versatility and him being able to move around and move to different spots because, you got to construct it a certain way if you got a guy that's just in one box. You know what I mean? And so, having Hook gives us the freedom to sign a Jamal. And, I was asked a question yesterday if we're going to sign somebody else. And the answer to that question is if we need to, because you can never have enough good football players. And all that is predicated on, Hook's ability to be able to move around and kind of be, as we would term it in football, a rock and roll safety.
I got one for you, too, man. Is this you speak with bringing in guys that you can develop and make your dudes, right? And there's questions as far as right guard, right tackle. There's others. Who's going to be the depth as far as outside edge rusher? One thing I can say is this. Did you start this offseason by saying the cupboard's a little bit dry, right, a little bit empty? You've added, I think there's like 3 competitions at right guard. 3 competitions at right tackle. You look at the interior D lineman other than Jeff and Sebastian Joseph that you signed in the offseason, like, you guys, Anthony Robinson, Chad Bring, have created an era of straight competition.
I need this chair.
Coach Mack in the building.
Damn it, Mac.
I love live radio.
Just come and just disrupt everywhere you go.
Man.
You always start in trouble everywhere you go.
Let me just say there's 3 steps you can sit on. I need this chair.
Mac across America has come to training camp.
He's back. What? I thought I had a straight question. The depth. You've created. I can't tell you who the starter is going to be at any one of those positions, man. What was the mindset behind it?
I mean, as you know, that's what this game is about, is creating competition at every spot. You know what I mean? And so we're going to constantly do that. We had, like we just talked about with the running backs, you had Tajay. I think Julius Chestnut shown, some flashes last offseason. And I think Hassan was ascending, before, but we still brought in Tony Pollard. You look at the quarterback position, Will's our guy, but you still bring in a proven Mason Rudolph, to compete with Malik, to push guys. That's what we're going to do. We're going to bring people in here to push guys. Nobody's allowed to get comfortable.
Let me get in a question about the pass rush this year. And we have talked about, Arden Key. Harold Landry last year towards the end of the season really started to feel comfortable again. Mm-hmm. And seeing him out here in OTAs and mandatory minicamp, I don't know, Rand, you give me your thoughts, but I'm like, this guy could have a huge year. In terms of the pass rush, like, what are you expecting, especially out of a guy like him who he's proven it in the past he can be that
and
dude.
Also with Denard's defense.
Yeah,
too,
exactly. The tackle.
Yeah, I think it's, the more we can keep those guys healthy and keep those guys going, I think we'll be perfectly fine. Like I understand, where people say, hey, it may be a need. Like, I get that.
Right.
But in any transition, you have to give these young guys their opportunity to earn it. You know what I mean? And the only way they're going to be able to earn it is if they're able to get the reps. Mm-hmm. And so, I'm excited about our young guys. I think Harold's had a hell of an offseason. You can see that in his work. You can see that in his body. You could just feel it. In him. Last year was the question. He's coming off the ACL and just working his way back. We know what the recovery of that is. And like you said, by the end of the season, you saw the explosiveness, you saw the pop and the burst. And he's, like I said, he's had probably as good an offseason as I've seen, and then just in my conversations with him, he said this is the best he's ever felt. And he had his routine, and it was great for him. So I'm excited to get him rolling and for him to start at, we'll say, 100%. This time, and then the young guys. The guys that were here last year, Caleb Murphy's, the Thomas Rush, and even our young guy, Jalen Harrell. Yep. Like, these guys get an opportunity. You're going to get reps. You're going to go against, our ones. You're going to play in the preseason, and you're going to get opportunities. Like, every year there's a young pass rusher that comes on that no one expected, and that's around the league. And I don't understand, why we can't think or feel that could be one of our guys.
Jalen Harrell, by the way, I ain't got a text message from one of my former teammates in a while. Marcus Gilbert. Jalen is a NFL
Go Gators. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Man,
I knew
that's crazy.
He's going to get in one of those. I'm here for it.
But Jalen Harrell is an NFL legacy guy, so he's got relatives in the league, man. That's super unique in watching that. I ain't heard from Gil in a while, but he texted me, hey, my cousin's playing for the Titans. It's like, new number? Who this?
Yeah, and he's because if I'm not mistaken, Marcus is a Tampa guy.
Yes, he is.
And so he's Jalen is a Tampa guy. I think he went to Berkeley Prep, which is the same high school NPF went to.
Yeah,
that's right.
And so that's one of the premier up and coming programs in Florida now. They're putting out a bunch of guys that are going. I guess they say Power 5. I was going to say D1. That's kinda, but they're putting out a bunch of those guys now. So. You turn on his tape, you watch him at Michigan, he was explosive, high motor, effort, he's athletic, and he was asked to do a lot of different things that didn't, and Michigan had a dominant front, and just their D-line period. Those guys got after people. But I think this kid has a chance. Now, obviously, he's got to prove it. You got to do it doing on the grass, when it matters, when those pads come on. So I'm excited to see him.
He is Titans GM Ran Carthon joining us here live from training camp. Enjoy it. Welcome to year 2. Welcome to day 1.
It'll be fun.
Year 2, day 1. Let's have this conversation at the end.
Yes.
All right. We'll be here.
And let's make sure it's late in the year, right?
Yeah, let's have this conversation then.
Just don't age like the president. That's all we ask. Don't age like the president. Any president, okay?
Listen, I've seen those before and afters of Obama.
Gosh.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And,
he's looking good now, though.
Because no stress.
Exactly.
Stress is removed. And like we were talking off camera before I came on, my stress level's a little higher.
Yes, it is.
I've been, me and the kids, wife has been on vacation out of the country.
Yeah.
So I've been on a little more on edge, you know what I mean?
No grays, though, in the beard. I don't see any, so you're good right now.
It's because of good products.
I was going to say, are you going to give us your secret? Because that's been out all
my routine is the freshness of juices and berries.
There you go. Yes, there you go. From the inside.
Ran Carthon joining us here this morning. Ran, we really appreciate it. Thank you.
No, thank you, man.
Thanks,
I always have fun.
Lito dropped another album, too, by the way.
I will be checking it out. We met. He and I, we finally met. We exchanged contact information. One of my to-do lists and I don't know why I'm saying this because I'm probably somebody's going to catch it and whatever. I don't care. One of my goals for next offseason is to actually get in the studio. I want to A&R a song. Any artists out there that don't want the GM all in the video, singing, dancing.
Come on down to Titans Records.
I like it.
Titans Records. Oh, my goodness. All right, that's Titans GM Ran Carthon. More of Ramon, Kayla, and Will coming up next.